Hey everybody. So I just wanted to make a quick video because I've had a lot of people on social media asking me why would I ever consider buying in an HOA, because after all it's just a worthless association that takes your money and tells you what you can and can't do with your property, right? Well, that depends. If you have a single family home, and it's easy to see where people would get that impression, because after all, you alone are responsible for your property. You're the one who's tending to your lawn care. You're the one painting the house. If the roof leaks, it's all on you. So what's the point in having these people there? Well, if you're concerned about your value of your home, you want to keep your valuations up, and you don't want to do anything funky in your yard, like you don't want to stack up a bunch of logs because you want to practice your lumberjack skills or something along those lines, then it might be perfect for you, because your neighbors might want to do the same thing. You might have somebody living across the road from you who wants to have a bunch of old junk cars sitting around in their yard, because maybe they're a handyman, mechanic, whatever. So they're parting out cars and stuff, which obviously is going to bring down the valuation of their home, which is going to bring down your valuation, because if you were to sell your home later, nobody's going to want to live next door to that. So it's understandable in that case. And then you hear about the stereotypical HOA Karens looking for things to complain about, causing trouble for everybody else in the neighborhood. If your name is Karen and you're not one of those people, no offense, but in my case, I am looking at buying a condo because I live on the West Coast and I can't afford to go $400,000 or so into debt for a house. So a condo would be the other option for me, because I don't particularly want to buy a modular home in a park somewhere and have to pay lot rent. So in condos, it's totally different, because yeah, you own the condo, but the HOA owns the building that the condo is in. They are responsible for maintenance and repairs of that building. If the roof leaks, that's all on them. Whatever. So it helps to reduce risk onto the owners of the condos in there. If there's any major expenses to be had, that cost gets spread out amongst everybody living there. So with that said, of course, the HOA dues are way more expensive, which is why you also want to make sure that they've got plenty of money in their cash reserves in case something comes up, something major, or some emergency, because you want to know that they're going to be able to absorb that cost. Because if an emergency comes up, something super expensive, and they don't have that, then they're going to have to go take out a loan from a bank to have the funds to get it taken care of, and then the repayment of that loan is going to get spread out amongst everybody in something known as special assessments. So everything might seem all fine and dandy and stuff, and then all of a sudden one day you're getting hit with this big assessment. All of a sudden, crap! Now they want an additional $25,000 from me in special assessments, and I got to make payments on it now. Hopefully, I can make payments, and oh crap, it's going to be $300, $400 a month in addition to what I'm already paying. That can be pretty detrimental to a lot of people, especially if you're just starting out. So, and it just in a way kind of defeats the purpose of having an HOA in a condo association, because if you got to pay the dues and still have to run the risk of something like that happening, then it's kind of like, what's the point? You may as well buy a single family home. Only if you are on the West Coast and you make the money I make, you can't afford to buy a single family home, so you're kind of screwed. So that's why I am looking at buying into an HOA, but only for the purpose of buying a condo. So yeah, I came across a property recently really nice condo, just fell in love with the place, and then I started digging into the financials, and I realized that they are pretty much broke. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. So currently I'm looking around and other condo associations, other places, hoping to find an HOA that is fully funded or close to fully funded, but yet has a condo I can afford and is going to work out for my purposes. So it's been tough. There's not a heck of a lot out there right now. I really want to own real estate, but I don't want to move back to the Midwest in order to do that, because I love Washington State. I mean, what can I say? And people are so much more accepting out here. And although things have been getting crazy in Seattle lately, but that's kind of why I want to move away from Seattle. So anyway, that's why I'm looking to buy an HOA. I mean, the only other option I would have as far as owning real estate out here would be buying a modular, which, again, I mean, if it's on its own land, you know, that would be great. Because 9 times out of 10, if it's on its own land, there's no HOA. Or if there is an HOA, then it's going to be dirt cheap. And I don't plan on doing anything real funky with the property anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. But finding modular homes on their own property is next to impossible. So then otherwise you're buying it in a park somewhere, and getting a loan on something that's on land that's being leased out is a lot more difficult. It could be tricky to keep the valuation up and to get it to appreciate. I mean, obviously it's not going to appreciate as much or as quickly as a condo or a regular house. And yes, by the way, I'm talking about modular, not trailer. There is a difference. Some people don't understand that. No, a trailer is one of these old school things, you know, with axles on them, and sometimes it's got the hitch on them still, whereas a modular is basically just a regular house, but it's manufactured in a factory rather than on site. So yeah, that's one of my pet peeves when people refer to those parks as trailer parks, because no, they are not trailer parks. I am not white trailer trash. So, and then the other question from people is, well, what's the difference between a condo and an apartment? Because it looks and feels just like an apartment. Well, the difference is a condo is something that you yourself own, whereas an apartment is something that you rent out because somebody else owns it. And generally speaking, the condos are going to be, you know, a lot nicer, because 9 times out of 10 when people buy a condo, they're buying it for themselves to live in. So it's gonna have nicer things in there. It's gonna have higher end things, like, you know, maybe instead of just the plain white, you know, appliances in the kitchen, you get stainless steel. Instead of, you know, the crappy cheap countertops, maybe you get granite or quartz, or, you know, something along those lines. And it just feels nicer overall. And sometimes there's going to be features in there that apartments don't have, that you could tell that whoever owned it before really cared about it and took care of it, as opposed to a landlord or a property manager who just do a bunch of cheap crap in there, because people generally don't tend to take good care of properties that they're renting. You know, they figure, hey, I don't own this anyway, why should I care? Most likely they're going to keep my security deposit anyway when I move out, so they go with the cheap crap. Hopefully not slumlord level cheap. So anyway, yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Take care.